Hi and welcome. We are Team Two, and we are going to be talking about business communication.
We are going to focus on our introduction and our purpose, our primary research, our secondary research, our conclusion and recommendations, and also our references that support our secondary research.
Okay, just a quick definition for business communication we got from Nextivia as it is the process of sharing information between people within the workplace and outside a company. We took this definition with us through our interviews with Omar Moreno, a director at Partner & Co. He's within the health and wellness industry, and Sacombe Cutler. She is an HR manager at Autoliv in the automotive industry. And when we were conducting our research, we were able to find some themes that both these individuals shared when it comes to business communication.
Perfect. They really emphasize the importance of effective communication. Choosing the correct method for communication can lead to a more successful outcome as a team. Some methods include face to face, Microsoft Teams, email, Zoom, or text messages. They both shared with us that these are the most common platforms that they use in their workspace, and it's also the most efficient way that they're able to get in contact with their team. We also believe that communication between their team um, and knowing the best way to communicate with your team will lead to, again, a more successful outcome. This includes boosting morale, making sure that you can trust your team members as well as any management that's involved. And this will lead to the greater success as well as building relationships with one another and knowing really knowing how to communicate with your team is going to lead to a greater understanding of one another. Another thing that they mentioned is clear expectations. It's important to be clear and precise of what needs to get done. This is so the team has a common goal in mind when completing tasks. Omar Moreno shared the perfect quote to tie into clear expectations. He said, communication is a two-way street. If you communicate a task and it is not completed according to your expectations, then your communication was subpar. We believe that this really ties into the importance of clear expectations because if you communicate well with your team, there's going to be less risk of lessened productivity or miscommunication, misunderstanding in any way. So really setting clear expectations will lead to the greater outcome and success of your team.
Exactly. I love that quote from Omar. I feel like it really does hone in the idea about setting clear expectations. Within our second research analysis, we have a little quote here. It says, these apps enable you to focus on what your team needs to accomplish, but still offer everyone involved instant response when necessary. This kind of ties in those first key ideas with knowing in what method to communicate with your team, as well as how to communicate with your team, as in what should be said to motivate, to encourage, boosting morale. And let's see here, we have recap conversation takeaways in detail. For example, the way a client digests a conversation can significantly vary from how a creative team digests it. This kind of hones in on the idea of putting yourself in their shoes. It kind of relates to the quote as well with those last, actually, all three ideas with understanding how to communicate. What are you saying? How are you saying it? Does everyone have the correct information? And if you were on the other side of getting the information that you are relaying, would you be able to do the job correctly? Fitting in those guidelines, those rules. It's really interesting, and these really do help hone in the idea of all those three key ideas that we got from our own research.
I definitely agree. In conclusion, communicating in a business setting is important to knowing the correct communication method that is appropriate for your team. Since the world and tech is evolving, staying in touch with new methods of communication is so much easier. Knowing if Teams works well with you and your team, if that's the most common platform, that's going to be the most efficient way to get a hold of each other, and that's going to help to stay in contact as well, or even Zoom like we're doing today. Knowing how to motivate your team, being encouraging, and knowing and learning about your team and what makes them effective. Really understanding and knowing your team is so important. It helps build relationships with one another, and it's really going to lead to again, the best outcome, and it's really going to help you build relationships as well. And then again, setting clear expectations, giving the correct and exact amount of information for your team to get done to meet requirements. This is going to help with lessening the risk of not meeting deadlines, or making sure that everything is going to plan, and making sure that everything is going to be completed efficiently and on time. It's going to enhance communication skills within your team, and again, lead to the best outcome. And then here's our references to support our secondary research as well. Anna, do you have anything else that you'd like to share about this topic?
No, that was it.
Perfect. I'm going to end it here then.
Sounds good.